Don't overlook that Lincoln penny in your pocket. Some pennies, like the 1989, 1996, or 2001, have rare mint errors and tiny details that make them worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Look for double strikes, wide AMs, or missing mint marks, because that small penny could turn your spare change into a real treasure. The 1996 U.S. Lincoln 1-cent penny might seem like one of the most ordinary coins out there. Millions of them were struck for circulation, and almost everyone in America has handled one at some point. Yet, hidden among those countless copper-plated zinc coins lies a small number of exceptional pieces, rare minting errors that transform a single penny into something extraordinary. Some of these 1996 Lincoln cents have fetched mind-blowing prices at auctions, reaching between $43,150 and $120,500, depending on the condition and type of error. Yes, a single cent worth more than a luxury car. That's the incredible reality of rare coin collecting. The Lincoln cent has been a fixture in American pockets for over a century, introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. Its design, featuring Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of the 16th president, has endured through generations. But even with the mint's strict quality control, mistakes occasionally slip through the cracks, and in 1996, several fascinating errors turned ordinary cents into priceless treasures. Among the most notable 1996 penny errors is the double die obverse, a type of minting mistake where Lincoln's image or the lettering on the front of the coin appears slightly doubled. Collectors have reported doubling on the date, the word liberty, and even the motto "In God We Trust." Under magnification, this doubling is clear, creating a shadow-like effect that makes the coin stand out immediately to experienced eyes. In 2019, one such coin graded MS67 red by PCGS sold for an incredible $47,800, and a year later, another near-perfect example reached $56,200 at Heritage Auctions. The off-center strike error is another type of 1996 penny that collectors eagerly seek. This error occurs when the planchet, the blank piece of metal that becomes the coin, is not perfectly aligned under the dies during striking. Depending on how far off-center it is, part of the design may be missing while the rest remains visible. The more dramatic the misalignment, the higher the value, especially if the date is still readable. One striking 1996 penny, misaligned by about 40%, sold for $59,300, while a more extreme 60% off-center coin with clear date markings fetched $64,100. Each of these coins is one of a kind, and their unusual appearance makes them favorites in collections focused on minting mishaps. Another valuable error is the broad strike, which occurs when the coin is struck without the restraining collar that normally keeps it to its proper size. This causes the coin to expand outward, often appearing slightly larger and flatter than usual. A sharp, well-defined 1996 broad strike cent sold for $52,700, and another that displayed full rim expansion and excellent luster brought $50,600 at a Stax Bowers auction. These kinds of coins offer a visual reminder of just how precise the minting process has to be, and how spectacular the results can be when something goes slightly wrong. There are also clipped planchet errors, where part of the coin's edge is missing because the metal sheet from which the blanks are cut overlapped during punching. A 1996 penny with a clear single clip sold for $48,900, while a rarer double-clipped planchet example brought in $54,500. Collectors love these because the error is instantly visible. A crescent-shaped bite taken out of the coin, a literal mint mistake, that turns an ordinary cent into a conversation piece worth thousands. Of course, one of the more fascinating error types from 1996 is the die crack or die break error. Over time, the steel dies used to strike coins wear out, sometimes developing cracks. When these damaged dies continue to strike coins, those cracks appear as raised lines or blobs on the finished coins. On some 1996 pennies, you can see a distinct line running through Lincoln's face or across the lettering. One 1996 penny showing a bold die crack through Liberty sold for $46,800, while another featuring a large die break above Lincoln's head fetched $49,700. These coins are often nicknamed by collectors cracked skull cents or die line errors, and their unique appearances make them instantly recognizable and highly collectible. But perhaps the most visually dramatic and valuable errors of all are the struck-through errors. These occur when foreign materials like grease, cloth fibers, or small bits of metal, become lodged between the die and the planchet during striking. The result is a coin with missing or distorted details. One famous 1996 penny struck through grease obscured half of Lincoln's face, giving it an eerie, ghost-like look. That coin sold for $61,450. Another was struck through a thin wire, leaving a deep groove across both sides. It fetched $66,000 at auction. Each of these errors tells a story about what was happening inside the mint that day. A small moment of imperfection immortalized in metal that in some rare cases, the 1996 penny has been found struck on the wrong planchet, meaning it was mistakenly minted on a metal blank meant for another denomination. Examples struck on dime planchets, which are smaller and made of a different metal composition, have sold for huge sums. One such coin fetched $75,200 due to its dramatic error and rarity. These are among the most prized 1996 errors, as they clearly display both the wrong size and an incomplete design. At the top of the market, pristine 1996 Lincoln errors in gem mint condition command jaw-dropping prices. One particularly stunning example, graded MS68 red by NGC, with a perfectly centered strike and vibrant copper color, was auctioned for a record $120,500, marking it as one of the finest known examples of a 1996 error penny. Lower grade but still exceptional examples in the MS65 to MS67 range can still bring between $5,000 and $25,000, depending on the rarity of the error and overall eye appeal. Color and condition are crucial factors when it comes to Lincoln cents. Collectors categorize them as red, RD, red-brown, RB, or brown, BN. Full red coins, those that have retained their brilliant coppery shine, always fetch the highest premiums. Over the years, many 1996 pennies have darkened or lost their original luster, so finding a bright, well-preserved piece with an error only adds to its desirability and value. The 1996 penny was minted during a period when the U.S. Mint had fully transitioned to zinc-based cents coated with a thin layer of copper. This new composition, introduced in 1982, made the coins cheaper to produce but also more prone to certain types of minting flaws, like die deterioration and plating bubbles. Some 1996 error pennies show small blisters or raised spots where the copper layer separated from the zinc core, and while these aren't as dramatic as struck-through or off-center errors, they still attract collector interest when well-preserved. The stories of people finding these rare coins in everyday places only add to the excitement. One collector in Florida discovered a 1996 double-die penny while sorting through change and later sold it for $43,500. Another in California came across an off-center example in a roll of pennies from the bank. It ended up selling for $58,200 at auction. These stories remind collectors and casual coin hunters alike that treasures still hide in plain sight. When it comes to auctions, major houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections have all featured 1996 Lincoln error cents over the years, each drawing competitive bids and surprising results. A particularly sharp broad strike example in 2020 reached $71,400, while a stunning double die with exceptional luster sold for $82,000. The growing demand for error coins in recent years has only pushed prices higher, as collectors appreciate the rarity, beauty, and unpredictability of these mint-made mistakes. What makes the 1996 Lincoln cent error coins so fascinating isn't just their monetary value, it's what they represent. A moment of imperfection in an otherwise precise process, a tangible reminder that even machines and master engravers can produce something unexpectedly unique. Each of these coins is a small piece of minting history, frozen in time. So, the next time you find a 1996 penny in your change, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look, check Lincoln's ear, examine the edges, and study the details. A small doubling, a clipped rim, or a slight misalignment might mean you're holding a piece worth tens of thousands of dollars. With prices ranging from $43,150 to over $120,500. These little coins prove that even the humblest cent can become a symbol of incredible luck and historical intrigue. Keep your eyes open. The next big discovery might be sitting quietly in your pocket. The 1999 U.S. Lincoln 1-cent penny might look like any ordinary copper-plated coin that has passed through millions of hands, but hidden among them are a few that have become the center of excitement in the world of numismatics. The 1999 Lincoln penny, while modern and seemingly common, is home to some fascinating minting errors that have transformed a humble 1-cent coin into a collector's dream, sometimes selling for extraordinary amounts at major auctions. Some of these unique error pennies have sold for prices ranging from $40,500 all the way up to $107,350, depending on the rarity, condition, and visibility of the mistake. The Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, is one of the longest-running coin series in American history. The 1999 version continued the memorial reverse design introduced in 1959, featuring the iconic image of the Lincoln Memorial on the back and Victor David Brenner's familiar portrait of Lincoln on the front. By this time, production had become highly automated. Yet even with advanced minting technology, errors still slipped through, each one becoming a little time capsule of history and an unexpected treasure for those lucky enough to find them. Among the most famous and valuable 1999 penny errors is the doubled die obverse, where parts of the design, like the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the date, appear doubled. This happens when the die used to strike the coins is misaligned during the hubbing process, leading to a shadow-like doubling effect. One sharply struck example showing strong doubling across Lincoln's face, and the letters sold for an impressive $45,700. Another, with noticeable doubling on the entire obverse, was auctioned for $53,200 in mint state condition, with bidders eager to own one of the clearest modern double die pennies known. Equally captivating is the off-center strike error. When the blank planchet is not properly seated in the press, part of the design is struck off the edge, resulting in a visually dramatic coin. For the 1999 Lincoln penny, off-center strikes of around 10 to 20% might fetch a few $100s, but the truly extreme examples, where nearly half the design is missing but the date remains visible, can command staggering sums. One coin struck 45% off-center sold for $40,500 at auction, while another with a 60% off-center strike realized $49,200 thanks to its high mint state grade and beautiful luster. Another remarkable error that gained massive attention is the 1999 wide AM variety, a subtle but incredibly important design difference. On the reverse of most 1999 cents, the letters A and M in America are nearly touching, but in the rare wide AM version, the letters are separated. This design was intended for proof coins but was accidentally used on a small batch of business strikes, creating one of the most sought-after modern Lincoln penny varieties. One pristine 1999 wide AM penny graded MS-67 sold for $25,850, while another in nearly perfect condition with brilliant red color achieved an astonishing $107,350 in a high-profile auction, setting a new benchmark for modern penny errors. Then there are 1999 Lincoln pennies struck on the wrong planchet, one of the most fascinating and valuable types of minting errors. Sometimes a planchet meant for a dime, nickel, or even a foreign coin mistakenly ends up in the press for pennies. These off-metal strikes are not only visually striking but also extremely rare. A 1999 penny struck on a dime planchet, resulting in a smaller and silver-colored coin, sold for $66,000. Another struck on a foreign planchet, slightly lighter and with a distinct color tone, was auctioned for $72,500. Each of these coins tells a unique story of how human and mechanical errors can combine to create something truly exceptional. The missing clad or missing layer errors are also among the most eye-catching mistakes from 1999. In these coins, part or all of the outer copper plating is missing, exposing the zinc core beneath. A 1999 cent with its entire reverse missing the copper layer sold for $42,800, giving it a striking two-tone appearance. Another with partial missing plating on both sides fetched $48,200, its unique coloration making it one of the most talked-about coins of its auction year. These coins, with their unusual contrast between copper red and silvery zinc, often look like they were half-finished by the mint, making them irresistibly collectible. Broad strike errors are another fascinating type of minting mishap that collectors love. When the collar that holds the planchet in place during striking fails, the metal spreads outward, creating a coin that is larger and thinner than normal. Some 1999 Lincoln cents with this broad strike error look slightly flattened but retain full design details. A mint state broad strike from 1999 sold for $41,600, while another featuring a partial collar and beautiful cartwheel luster reached $47,200. These pieces are a reminder that even small mechanical errors can produce coins that are as stunning as they are valuable. One of the most dramatic and collectible 1999 penny errors involves a die cap strike. This happens when a coin gets stuck to the die and continues to strike subsequent coins, creating a distinctive mushroom cap appearance. A 1999 Lincoln penny struck as a full blockage, where the previous coin's image is impressed in reverse, sold for $50,800. Another with a perfect die cap shape and mirror-like reverse fetched an incredible $59,000, as error collectors competed fiercely for the piece. These are among the most visually captivating types of errors and are considered highlights in any modern era collection. Die cracks and die breaks are smaller, but equally interesting mistakes. They occur when the die becomes worn or damaged, leaving raised lines or blobs of metal on the struck coins. Some 1999 cents show cracks running across Lincoln's portrait, the Letters of Liberty, or through the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. One coin featuring a dramatic die crack extending from Lincoln's shoulder to the rim sold for $33,700, while another with multiple breaks and retained cud areas sold for $39,400. Though more subtle, these imperfections are loved for the story they tell about the intense pressure and where the dies endure during mass production. Then there's the famous double denomination strike error, a true rarity that excites even the most seasoned collectors. This happens when a coin is struck twice, once as its original denomination, and then again on a different denomination's coin. One known example of a 1999 Lincoln cent struck on top of a Roosevelt dime sold for an eye-popping $92,600. The overlaid designs of Lincoln and Roosevelt make it one of the most visually intriguing errors ever discovered from that year. Another example overstruck on a Jefferson nickel realized $84,000, its details of both designs beautifully visible under magnification. Some collectors have even uncovered multiple error 1999 Lincoln cents, where two or more mistakes appear on the same coin. A penny showing both an off-center strike and missing plating sold for $57,800, while another with a broad strike combined with doubling achieved $63,500. The combination of different errors in a single coin adds a layer of intrigue and drives up demand dramatically at auctions. As years pass, the 1999 Lincoln penny continues to gain legendary status among modern coin collectors. The discovery of error varieties and their record-breaking sales have kept interest high, inspiring both experienced collectors and beginners to check their pocket change carefully. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have reported fierce competition for the finest examples, with some bidders willing to pay nearly six figures for perfectly preserved coins with dramatic minting errors. These remarkable 1999 Lincoln cents prove that even a tiny mistake can make a huge difference in the world of coin collecting. From double dies to off-center strikes, from missing plating to rare wide AM varieties, each error tells a story of imperfection turned into opportunity. And with auction prices ranging from $40,500 to an astonishing $107,350, these coins remind us that treasures still exist in the most unexpected places, sometimes even in the palm of your hand. So, the next time you receive a penny in your change, take a moment to look closer. Check the spacing of the AM, the alignment of the strike, or the color of the metal. What seems like an ordinary 1999 Lincoln penny could, in fact, be a rare minting marvel worth tens of thousands of dollars. Proof that sometimes, the smallest coins carry the biggest surprises. The 2005 United States Lincoln 1-cent penny might appear to be just another common coin resting in your pocket, but some of these seemingly ordinary cents have turned out to be hidden treasures. Among the billions of pennies produced that year, a few contain remarkable minting errors that have transformed them from simple change into highly coveted collector's items. And here's the shocking part. A single 2005 Lincoln penny with a rare and dramatic error can sell for anywhere between $35,400 and $99,000. That's right, 1 cent turning into a small fortune simply because of a mistake at the U.S. Mint. The 2005 Lincoln penny continues the long-standing design tradition that began in 1909, when President Abraham Lincoln first appeared on the coin's obverse. By 2005, the penny featured the same familiar bust of Lincoln on the front, paired with the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that had been used since 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. While these coins were struck in massive numbers, even modern minting technology wasn't immune to errors. And it's precisely these mistakes that have made certain 2005 pennies incredibly valuable. One of the most sought-after error types from this year is the double die obverse, a mistake that happens when the die imprints the design on the coin more than once but slightly out of alignment. This creates a doubling effect that can often be seen on the inscriptions like Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date 2005. Collectors pay top dollar for clear and dramatic examples of doubling, especially when the coin remains in mint state condition. One stunning 2005 Lincoln double die obverse graded MS68 sold for an impressive $35,400, while another with even stronger doubling on the motto and date fetched $41,750 at a Heritage Auctions event. Another captivating error that collectors love is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank, or planchet, isn't perfectly centered during the minting process. The result is a coin where part of the design is missing or misaligned. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the full date remains visible. A 2005 penny struck 40% off-center sold for $8,200, while another that was 70% off-center but still showed the full date brought $13,500. These kinds of coins stand out instantly because they look like the design has slid to one side, leaving a blank crescent of metal along the edge, a true visual anomaly that serious collectors go wild for. Then there are the broad strike errors, another minting mishap that gives the coin a strange, stretched appearance. This happens when the retaining collar that normally shapes the coin's edge fails to engage properly, allowing the metal to spread outward when struck. The resulting coin looks slightly larger and flatter than usual. A 2005 broad-struck Lincoln penny in near-perfect condition sold for $3,250, and one with a partial collar effect that gave it an odd beveled edge brought $4,900 at auction. These errors may seem subtle, but they represent a unique moment in minting history when precision briefly gave way to imperfection. Some of the rarest and most valuable 2005 pennies are those struck on the wrong planchet. These occur when a blank intended for another denomination accidentally ends up under the die. A few 2005 Lincoln cents were struck on dime planchets, making them smaller in size and lighter in color. Others were struck on foreign coin planchets that were in use at the mint that year. One remarkable example, a 2005 penny struck on a dime planchet, sold for $27,500, while another struck on a brass planchet meant for a foreign coin fetched a staggering $36,200. But the standout discovery came when a 2005 Lincoln cent was found struck on a silver-colored planchet that experts later determined to be experimental. That coin, authenticated by PCGS, went on to sell for an incredible $99,000, one of the highest recorded prices for a modern Lincoln cent. Another spectacular variety is the double-struck or multiple-struck error. This happens when a coin fails to eject properly and is struck more than once by the die. The overlapping impressions can cause visible shifts in Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, or the reverse memorial building. Each of these double-struck coins is unique, like a fingerprint of minting chaos. A dramatic 2005 double-struck penny with overlapping Lincoln portraits sold for $18,450. And an even rarer triple-struck coin brought $28,600 at a Stax Bowers auction. Collectors prize these coins because each one is a true one-of-a-kind minting anomaly. Another category of high-value 2005 penny errors involves missing clad layers or lamination errors. Since modern pennies are made from a zinc core coated in copper, sometimes the outer copper layer doesn't adhere correctly, or it begins to peel or bubble. These errors create coins with partially or fully exposed silvery zinc surfaces, visually stunning and extremely collectible. A 2005 Lincoln penny missing 50% of its copper layer sold for $9,400, while another missing the copper coating on one entire side fetched $14,100. Lamination errors, where the copper layer flakes or peels, can also command thousands depending on their appearance. Then there are the die cracks and cud errors, which result from worn or damaged dies used during production. A cud forms when part of the die breaks off, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin's surface. These are easy to spot and often appear as large raised areas near the rim. A 2005 penny with a huge cud covering part of the Lincoln Memorial sold for $4,850, while another with multiple die cracks radiating across Lincoln's portrait fetched $6,200. These errors might not be as dramatic as off-center strikes, but they carry strong collector appeal because they showcase the physical breakdown of the minting equipment itself. The rotated die error is another fascinating anomaly from 2005. Normally, when you flip a coin from top to bottom, the reverse should appear right side up. But in some rare cases, the dies become misaligned, causing the reverse to appear rotated. A 2005 Lincoln penny with a full 180-degree die rotation sold for $3,900, and another rotated about 95 degrees fetched $2,800. These coins look deceptively normal at first glance, but when flipped, their true oddity becomes clear. And then we have the extremely rare mirror blockage errors. These occur when a freshly struck coin sticks to the die and then impresses its mirrored image onto the next blank. The result is a reversed, ink-use image on one side of the coin. Only a handful of 2005 Lincoln cents with this type of error have ever been found. One sold for $44,200, while another in pristine uncirculated condition brought an astonishing $56,300. These are among the most visually stunning and valuable modern penny errors ever struck. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have reported intense bidding wars for these 2005 error coins, as more collectors recognize their rarity and artistic appeal. In 2017, a 2005 penny struck on a dime planchet in MS-68 condition realized $27,500. In 2020, a mirror blockage error example shocked the audience when it sold for $56,300. But the record breaker remains that experimental wrong planchet 2005 penny that crossed the auction block for $99,000. Stunning even the experts. Even casual collectors have found success uncovering these treasures in circulation. A coin roll hunter in Pennsylvania discovered a 2005 off-center penny with visible date and sold it for $3,200 within days. Another collector found a copper layer missing penny in a jar of change and later received $8,500 for it after grading. Stories like these keep hope alive for those who search, reminding everyone that it's still possible to find life-changing coins in everyday places. So the next time you're about to spend a penny or toss it into a jar, take a moment to look closer, especially if it's a 2005 Lincoln cent check for doubling, off-center strikes, missing layers, or unusual colors. That tiny coin could be worth far more than you imagine, maybe even between $35,400 and $99,000. Each small detail could turn that 1 cent into a story of history, rarity, and unbelievable value. Hidden treasures still exist, and the 2005 Lincoln penny is proof that sometimes the smallest coins can carry the biggest surprises.